The trouble with Karen started the day she moved into the house next to mine in Pine Hollow, a quiet cul-de-sac where the biggest drama was usually whose dog barked too loud. I'd been here for a decade, a single guy in my 30s, keeping my lawn tidy and my life low-key. I'm an electrician by trade, certified, with a side hustle building custom circuits for hobbyists. My garage is my workshop, full of tools, wires, and a few experimental projects I tinker with for fun. Karen, though, didn't care about any of that. She was the new HOA vice president, a self-proclaimed community organizer, with a knack for turning molehills into mountains. It was late June when I first noticed the extension cord. I was in my backyard grilling burgers when I saw an orange cable draped over our shared wooden fence. It snaked from Karen's side, plugged into an outlet on her patio, and ran to a tacky fountain she'd installed, a cherub spitting water into a basin. The cord was a cheap 16-gauge thing, frayed at one end, barely rated for outdoor use. I knocked on her door to point it out, thinking she'd appreciate the heads up. "Karen, that cord's a hazard," I said, gesturing to the fence. "It's not weatherproof, and it's overloading your outlet. You need a heavier gauge or a dedicated circuit." She crossed her arms, her floral sundress practically glaring in the sunlight. "It's fine," she snapped. "I've used it for years. Mind your own business." I shrugged and walked away. I wasn't her electrician, but the cord bugged me. It was a fire waiting to happen. A week later, it was still there, now tangled in her roses. I sent her an email, citing NFPA 70, the National Electrical Code, warning that extension cords aren't meant for permanent outdoor use. She replied with a single line, "Stop harassing me, or I'll report you to the HOA." Things escalated in July. Karen started hosting garden parties every weekend, her backyard packed with folding chairs and string lights, all powered by that same extension cord. My security camera caught it overheating one night, the insulation starting to melt where it rubbed against the fence. I reported it to the HOA, attaching photos. The response? A form letter about resolving neighbor disputes amicably. Karen was the vice president, after all. Then came the 4th of July. I was in my garage working on a project, a gag device I called the circuit breaker bomb. It wasn't a bomb, obviously, just a loud, legal noisemaker I'd built for a client's prank. It was a small box with a relay switch, a buzzer, and a bank of capacitors that could discharge a harmless but startling 120 decibel pop when triggered, like a firecracker on steroids. It was wired to a standard outlet, designed to trip any circuit it was plugged into, forcing a reset. I tested it indoors, and it was a hit at parties, loud, safe, and code-compliant. That evening, Karen's party was in full swing, her guests spilling onto my side of the fence. I noticed she'd added another extension cord, daisy-chained to the first, powering a karaoke machine. That was a clear violation. Daisy-chaining cords can overload circuits and cause fires. I went to her gate, intending to warn her again, but she cut me off. "You're jealous of my parties," she yelled loud enough for her guests to hear. "If you don't like it, move." She slammed the gate in my face. I was done being nice. Back in my garage, I grabbed the circuit breaker bomb. It was petty, sure, but Karen needed a lesson. I plugged it into my outdoor outlet, ran a heavy-duty 12-gauge extension cord to the fence, and connected it to her daisy-chained mess. The bomb was set to trigger if her circuit drew more than 15 amps, well within her breaker's limit, but enough to detect her overload. I flipped the switch and waited. At 9 p.m., Karen's karaoke machine blared Sweet Caroline for the third time. The circuit breaker bomb did its job. With a crack like a gunshot, it tripped her breaker, cutting power to her patio. The music died, the lights went out, and her guests gasped. My device buzzed loudly, echoing across the cul-de-sac. Karen stormed to the fence, screaming, "What did you do?" I stepped outside, holding up my phone, which was streaming my security feed. "Your cords overloaded the circuit," I said calmly. "I warned you." That noise was my safety device kicking in. It was a half-truth. The bomb was more prank than safety tool, but it had done its job. She called the cops. 2 officers arrived looking bored. I showed them the footage, explained the daisy-chained cords, and demonstrated the bomb on my own outlet. It popped again, loud but harmless. The officers laughed. "Ma'am, you can't run cords like that," one said. "Get a proper outlet installed." They cited her for an electrical hazard and left. The HOA board got involved after Karen filed a complaint accusing me of sabotage. I presented my case at the next meeting. Photos of her cords, NEC citations, and a video of the bomb in action. The board's president, a retired engineer named Tom, was unimpressed with Karen's tantrum. "You created a fire risk," he told her. "He warned you multiple times." The board fined her $300 for violating safety bylaws and ordered her to remove the cords. My bomb was deemed unorthodox but legal, since it was wired to my property and didn't cause damage. Karen's party stopped. She hired an electrician to install a proper outdoor outlet, but her fountain stayed off, probably couldn't afford the permit. The orange cord disappeared, and she avoided me after that, though I caught her glaring when I mowed my lawn. I kept the circuit breaker bomb in my garage, ready for the next Karen who thinks they can outsmart physics. Pine hollows back to its quiet self. I'm still the guy with the weird gadgets, but now neighbors ask for my help with their wiring. Tom even wants a bomb of his own. I'm happy to oblige. After all, nothing says mind your own business like a 120 decibel lesson in electrical safety.